Hi guys! So in this video I was thinking I would show you how you can make different game objects communicate with each other, because when you're making a game there's gonna be a lot of components in your scene and they're gonna have to be able to talk to each other somehow. So I've just quickly made some sprites here. I made a happy face, a sad face, and two little nameplates. You can use whatever you want. I'm just gonna use them for my little example. Okay, so the first thing you should do is go into Save Scene As, go to Scenes, and just make it, just name it Scene 1 or whatever you want. I'm gonna clean out all these, you should as well, if you have that there still. And I'm gonna take, I'm gonna start making some stuff here. So my idea, so for this little example, what I'm planning to do is I'm gonna make a simple animation slash game where you have two faces, two people that insult each other back and forth, and I will animate those transitions. So what I need is I need people. So knowing that, I'm going to make a person script like this, and I'm just gonna leave it here for now. All right, I already have a person script. Give me a second. Okay. Yes, so I'm going to make a person script, and also in the scene, I'm going to create empty, and I'm going to make this one Bob. And just put it at 0, 0, 0. And I'm going to copy this guy and name this one Alice. And then I'm going to select both of them, shift click like this, and I'm going to put the person script on them. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my sprites, and I want them to have a face and I want them to have a name. So I'm going to show you what a nested prefab is. If you click on, for example, Bob, right click on Bob, you can create objects under Bob that will be his children. So children objects. You don't need to do this for exactly this. You basically just go delete this one, select the sad face and drag it onto Bob. And then just name the sad face face. And also I'm going to change these to 256 so they're a little smaller. Same with these. There we go. Okay, so now he has a face, and I want him to have a name as well. So I'm going to take the Bob name and put it in, and I'm also going to put it at 0, 0. And then I just simply take this text and put it at like 1.5. There we go. And -3. There we go. So that's Bob. And then for Alice, I'm gonna do the same. I'll use Control C and copy these in, put them in like that. And I can just take and replace the sprite here with my new one, which is gonna be the happy face. And this is the name. And I'm just gonna drag the Alice name on there. And I'm gonna name this one name as well. And move this one to -3. There we go. Tree, and also, whoops, these ones are supposed to be 0, 0. It's important to look at where you have your prefabs. So 0, 0 would mean the center of your parent object. So even though this one is at 3, this one is at 0 because that's the local position now. Okay, so now that we have Bob and we have Alice, and Bob is sad, Alice is happy, we're gonna make a couple of scripts here. So first you gotta think about what you want to do. So I want it to be so that when Bob insults Alice, she will turn sad, and if Alice insults Bob, then he will turn sad, and it will just keep going back and forth like that. So knowing that, I know I need to change the face, and I know I need to, maybe I'll change the color of the face as well. So mainly the face. So I'm gonna make another script, and I'm gonna call it face. I'm gonna select both of these faces by just clicking on it, and then control click on the next one and drag the face on. And then we're gonna go in and edit the face script. So I have two face sprites. One is sad and one is happy, and I need the face script to be able to switch between the two. So you know how we can assign we can just assign the variables in the script here, and they will be visible for us in the editor. I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to show you a nicer way of doing this as well. So yeah, I'll have a public sprite, happy face, whenever it stops lagging. Okay, and then a public sprite, sad face. So now, whenever this loads again, those are going to be assignable in the inspector here. So there's one side effect to having these public, which I don't like, is that any other class, since they're public, they are exposed and not encapsulated properly. So that means that this arrow script, if it had a reference to a face object, it would be able to change these. I don't like that, so I'm going to show you a different way of doing this while still having them visible in the inspector here. What you do is you make them private, like this, and I follow my naming conventions here. So when I do this, you're going to see that my editor view here doesn't contain those variables anymore, so I can't conveniently set them anymore. But there is an attribute you can add, which is called Serialize Field, which all it does is allows this attribute to be serialized in the inspector, and the added benefit is that nothing else can access them. Only you. This is for you only. So it's just a little convenience thing, and I use it quite frequently myself. So I'm gonna assign the happy and the sad face, and I'll do the same for Alice and Bob here. There we go. So now this face script is aware of these two sprites. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the person script, and I'm gonna give it a couple of states. So I'm just gonna name these. So the thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a mood enum, and there's gonna be two possible states you can be in, and that's happy and sad. Okay, and then in the face script again, all this is gonna do is we have a public method which is called setFace that takes in a mood and then sets the face accordingly. So what we do is we switch on the mood, and then case happy and case sad. We will set the right. So we still don't have our sprite renderer, and you remember from the last episode, we used to this, and then just get that component there so that we can play around with it. So now, by the time we call setFace, we should have our renderer available to us. So we do render.sprite is equal to happy sprite, happy face, and then same for the sad face there. And additionally, I'm just gonna make it so we can apply a tint. So green if you're happy, and red if you're unhappy. So that's that class done pretty much. That's all we really need. There's going to be one caveat here I'll show you later, but it's not important for now. And so we go back to our person script here, and we need to have a way of telling the other person that I insult you, so you're going to change your state from happy to sad. So first of all, although we have declared the enum here, this person doesn't actually own a mood state. So I'm gonna set, and I'm gonna do the same kind of serialize here, private mood, current mood, so that's visible in the inspector. And I'm also going to have a reference to the face. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the serialize, private face, face. Okay, and then in the start method, I'm going to set the face equal to what the current mood is, because I'm gonna assign it in the inspector. So I'm gonna do face dot set face current mood. We should set all our variables there. And then I'm just gonna remove this for now. There's gonna be two methods here. There's gonna be one for sending an insult and one for receiving an insult. So private void send insult, which takes another person, and then there's going to be a public void receive, or private void receive insult, which is just going to set you sad. All right, and then we still need to be aware of who the other person is, so we need to find them somehow. And this is kind of the point of this little tutorial, is that there's multiple ways of finding other game objects. And I'll show you a couple of them. So I'll make a find other person. So the first one is you can do GameObject.find, and then you can give it a name. Okay, so in our case, we would want to find, for example, Alice or Bob, but we don't actually know which script this, which person this is. We don't know if this is Bob or Alice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find all people, and we're gonna find out who is not us. So you could technically do this for many game objects. So for this, I'm going to use something called the Unity tag system, which is up there. So the tag system is nice because all you have to do is go in, click this, and give it a tag, name it person. And then when you've done that, click on both Alice and Bob by control clicking and assign them to the tag person. So the tag system is more optimized in its for searching. And then you could do GameObject.find GameObjects with tag person. You can also do this for a singular one. And then I'm gonna loop through this array or list, other, like this, and I'm gonna check if that person does not equals our game object. Because here's the thing, when we find the game objects with this tag, we're actually finding the game objects. We're not finding the actual person component. So we're gonna need to get that later. So what I'm checking for is that I'm checking that this person's game object is not equal to mine. Then I'm going to set that person as the one we want to send the insult to. So I'm going to declare a private person, other person here. That's the person that we're going to insult. And then I'm going to check, okay, so if that person is not us, then other person is equal to person, which is the game object. And then we're going to do the same thing where we do get component person. So now we have a reference to that person as long as we actually find them in the start function, and we can start insulting them. So what the send insult method is simply gonna do, it's gonna do other.receive insult, and that's it. And then, so because this is all happening in one frame here, so what's gonna happen is whenever I trigger send insult, that person is going to receive the insult, and they're gonna set their face and all that. So the new mood is going to be mood.sad. That's gonna be your new mood whenever you receive an insult. And the person sending the insult will become happy. And there we're simply going to make it so that the person sending the insult has to be sad if they want to send an insult. So I'm gonna define an update method here, and I'm gonna define some kind of input for us to actually send an insult. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check if our current mood is equal to sad, and then we're gonna use the Unity input system, which is input, and then we're gonna check for get key down. So there's a couple of options here. There's get key, which is just while it's pressed down. Get key down is when the key is pressed down, like just once. And get key up is when the key is released. So this one triggers once, this one triggers once, and this one triggers while the button is held. And then it's simply key code, which is the base there, and dot space. So whenever I press the space bar, I'm going to send an insult if I am sad. And then I'm just going to do send insult other person. There we go. And then I will become happy, and that person will become sad. So I'm going to make a little convenience method here called set mood, and then I'm gonna mood, and then current mood is equal to mood face.set face mood, so that we don't have to type that over and over again. And then we just replace this set mood current mood. There we go. So there's one thing here that would be a problem, is that when we press space here and we send an insult to a person, if we set our mood to happy and they receive the insult, they set their mood to sad, then since this is all happening in one frame, by the time I'm done, they are going to go in here and check this, and this is still going to be true, so we will not see anything happening. So we need to actually cache the new state, the new mood that the person should have, and then set it later. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do private mood new mood. That's the new mood that we're going to have. And then I'm going to set it here. New mood is equal to mood.happy. And then new mood is equal to mood.sad. Okay. And then what I'm going to do in this method, I'm just going to do if current mood it does not equal new mood, then I'm going to set my mood to the new mood, which will work as we expect, hopefully. There we go. So let's just see if I got everything in there. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's just see if this works. Okay, so we have Alice and we have Bob. Bob starts off as sad, so we're gonna set that. His face has to be assigned here since that's the way we're doing it. And then Alice is happy and her face is there. And they're both tagged as person, so let's try playing the scene. Okay, they're both happy. Okay, that makes sense, because whenever the start method is called here, it's setting the mood to, well, actually the update method, it's setting the mood to the new mood, and since the default is happy, we actually have to set this in the start method as well, so that the new mood is the same as the current mood at start. So we do that, and then it should work as we expect. So now Bob is sad, Alice is happy, and when I press the spacebar, they switch. So now we have two game objects talking to each other like that. So one thing I wanted to cover as well during this little video is debug logs. They're very useful and you're gonna use them a lot. So I'll just show you how they work. It's just debug.log, and then you can do something like gameObject.name plus found plus person.name. So we can see that everything works as we expect. And then is insulting. And then insult. There. So now we'll have some log output as well, so we can see what's going on. Yeah. So you're gonna see Bob found Alice and Alice found Bob, and when we press space, Bob is insulting Alice and Alice received the insult. We press again, Alice is insulting Bob and Bob received the insult. There's one little error here that you can't actually see because we got lucky, but it's regarding this face and person thing. So one of the issues here is that, and this is something you have to remember, is that when you have a start method, you don't know what order they're going to be called in. So if I'm doing something here that relies on the face method having done their start method, I should probably reconsider what I'm doing. Because what I'm doing here is I'm doing set mood, right? And that's using face, set face, which then relies on the renderer being set. So if I'm unlucky, the start method of person will run before face, and then we'll get a null reference exception. So there's one way around this. There's one method that runs before start, and it's very useful if you have a dependency. So for example, person depends on face, so face needs to be initialized before this person's start method is called. So what we do then is we simply set this to awake. Awake works kind of just like the start method, except it's called before. And yeah, that's really it. I really recommend that. I'm going through a lot of terms and it's going quick. Bring up the Unity documentation. It's really solid, and it will help you out a lot if you ever get stuck on something or if you have questions. Thank you for watching.